Welcome to the Music for Transformation interview series, where I get to interview amazing people who use music to enhance their own lives and that of other people as well. So first of all, just hit that subscribe button now and enjoy the interview. So I'd like to welcome onto my interview today Sam Parker, who has been a contributor of two songs, a vocalist on two songs on the Empowerment Songs albums. Now, let me first of all, let's say a quick hi. Hi, Sam.
Hi, James. How you doing?
I'm great, thank you. And let's just read some of your bio so people know what you're about. So Sam is a classically trained singer, singing teacher, and intuitive energy healer, which I'd like to explore some of those bits in a while. She combines her voice and healing abilities to help clients connect to themselves and their expression, shift emotion, and heal trauma, which I'm very much interested in finding out more about. Sam has over 25 years of singing performance experience, Estill voice training, and communication degree in communication management, media studies, and expressive art. So sounds all great, Sam. So like I say, delighted to have you on this interview, on this show. Tell us a little bit about your background in regards to music then, because it sounds obviously that music has been a big part of your life. So tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been singing and performing ever since I was about 4 years old. And I've also been performing with my sister for a really long time. So I'm from New Zealand originally, and now I'm in the UK. But we performed together for many years. I've done lots of singing competitions, been classically trained, and had lots of events to kind of be part of. And it's been an amazing kind of performing journey. And since coming to the UK, I wanted to explore more around personal development and meditation and kind of more of the spiritual side of life. Really still engaging with music as much as possible. I'm currently in a band based in Brighton, which is really exciting. So that's a covers band, and that's another thing that I do on the side. But what I really wanted to focus on was using what I was passionate about and what I had done for basically my whole life to help people and to really make it count and to be really intentional about it. And my journey coming to the UK began with, exploring meditation, exploring energy healing, which I'm certified in, as you mentioned. And I discovered through doing the energy healing that I had a gift for using sound in the healing space. And my mentor, who is Intuity International, is the healing academy that I studied through. And Keith, my mentor, he's now based in Spain. He really encouraged me to explore this healing avenue with my voice. And it's been quite amazing. So now I use my voice, and I've also introduced crystal singing bowls into the mix as well. So funnily enough, I did a couple of sessions last night for clients online, it can be as effective as in person. It's all around the intention. Every session is bespoke, and every session is different. And I use channeled messaging to bring in information to support the person who's receiving the healing. And I've had some really, really amazing feedback. The experience can be quite emotional, or it can be quite gentle, depending on what the person's going through. So it's really up to the person what they receive, because I'm the facilitator of the healing and they are their own healer, it's really lovely in a way, because you're not expected, you shouldn't put the onus on yourself to heal someone else. That's their responsibility, but you're the space holder. And most of the time we don't allow ourselves that space to really look in and heal our wounds and really explore what's bothering us in our lives and where we want to make changes. So it's been an amazing journey, and I'm looking forward to doing more healing sessions. I'd love to do more group sessions, and obviously COVID-19, as much as we've all been experiencing self-isolation, and it's been a really difficult time, as well as people obviously losing their lives, which is horrendous. But to explore doing group sessions in person eventually, but also doing group sessions online. As you said, I work in communications day to day, and I had a great conversation with my boss, and she said, maybe we could do something company-wide where I could do a sound healing session for some of the employees, just as kind of like let's take out 15 minutes, half an hour, and actually have a session where we wind down a little bit and, reduce some of the stress that we deal with day to day. So I feel like it's infiltrating lots of areas of my life in a really, really good way. So yeah,
that's
really
brilliant. Yeah, and I love that. The fact, there's a couple of things or a couple of directions I want to go there. First thing I want to say is, obviously, yes, music, sound has been a big part of your life. And for anyone out there thinking, well, I want to be a pop star, or I want to be involved in music, what I like about this is Sam is still involving, or you, I'm speaking to you, you are still involving your love of music and sound in a very different way. It's not all about as much as you might like that as well. I don't know, being getting a number one hit and being a pop star, and that of course is great, but you're finding other ways to sort of use those passions and your talents for what you have. So it's really good for someone. Let's go down that direction. So for someone that's listening to this thinking, okay, I'm kind of getting it, but I'm not quite sure what's going on here. So for example, we've probably heard, people recognize that there's research out there to say that if we're involved in music, if we're singing, for example, that can be healing on our bodies. But what you're saying is you're not necessarily getting other people to sing. You're using sound in some way. So how does that actually help someone?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good question. So there are lots of studies out there around sound and the vibration. So everything is energy, and sound is just another form of energy in terms of the vibrationary waves. And the crystal singing bowls have different frequencies, and they're all made of, I think it's 99.99% quartz crystal, and that resonates with our energy fields in our bodies. So the crystal bowl itself really has that effect on the body. And it's actually, music can be stronger because of that vibrational frequency. There are plenty of ways to heal yourself, and that, you can release emotions, and you can do that manually. I know there's studies with magnetic energy and using that in a particular way. But sound has a particular way that it kind of infiltrates you without you having to consciously be aware of it and kind of dig out those emotions. They kind of just vibrate out of you, so to speak. And I guess also, like, the reason that sound healing has drawn me is because I wanted to incorporate my gift of, or my ability to sing with healing. But for people who are interested in music and want to use their voice to heal, not only the crystal bowls, but just the simple sensation of humming can really regulate your breathing and put you in that calmer space. So it's about the tones, the notes that you sing, but also just about your breathing. So you automatically have to calm down, because you can't hum and feel good with music in an anxious state. It's just, it's that whole, you can't be in the state of love and fear at the same time. So it's about really switching your body into that mode instantly. So that's what I really like about it. And it's a good point about, if there are people out there who are interested in singing, and because I'm a singing teacher as well, if they want to incorporate their own voice into the healing process, I would encourage people to sing along with me. I've had a session with a friend of mine who is a really amazing, talented, well-known singer in Brighton, and we sang together in a session that I did with her, and it was absolutely beautiful. And it was a community setting at the time. We had a clinic space where we were doing low-cost sessions, and the sound filled the room, and it touched everyone. So I think that's something very unique to music and sound, and really filling the space with that kind of love and release as well.
That's amazing. That's great. And I want to ask you some more questions about that as well. And obviously we will get on to talking about your involvement in the album and the empowerment
Mhm.
songs. But I think all this is useful just to sort of show you, if we're talking about, for example, the empowerment songs albums and how they can be beneficial. Well, this is an example. The fact that you've said, we are energy, we've got all these vibrational frequencies, sound is really healing to us. It's just leading us up to talking about those other things. I have a quick question for you, and I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit because I got an inkling that you might know the answer, but I don't know. Can these forms of therapy, these forms of sound therapy, using the various tools that you use, can it help people who are deaf or partially deaf?
That's a really good question. I haven't read anything or explored personally with people who are deaf, but I think intention is everything. So if they're partially deaf and there can be, some form of sound that kind of hits the eardrum, absolutely. I'm not sure about being fully deaf, but what I know is, as I said, intention is everything. So depending on what the person wants to achieve, you can create that energy-filled space. You don't actually need words or sound. Thoughts themselves have incredible power, and we don't give them enough kudos in our day-to-day thoughts. And when we're, in our minds and we're creating all these scenarios, what are we doing with our thoughts? Because those are also energy. So the person who is receiving the healing and their willingness to heal through their thoughts, through getting into their bodies, really feeling what's going on, and then having that intention to release can be enough as well. So I probably wouldn't highly recommend having a sound healing session if you are that way, but I certainly think there is intention, and there also is probably those vibrations that are filling the room, whether or not you can hear them. Is possibly still something that you will benefit from.
That's amazing. Great answer. And again, lots of gems there. Intention is really important. And I remember seeing it. It's just made me think. I remember watching a Britain's Got Talent or America's Got Talent, it might have been. I think I came across it on social media, one of the videos, and it was a girl. Can't remember how old she was, but she had become deaf and she had to retrain herself to be able to, I think she was singing now, but she couldn't actually hear the music. She kind of felt the vibrations and all that. She retrained herself, and she had a great voice, and it was one of those real, I got tears streaming down my face. It was really amazing. So again, intention in terms of that, she'd lost music. She really wanted to get music back into her life, and she did that, and it was absolutely incredible. So that's amazing. Tell me more about then your voice. So you use your voice. What are you trying to do with that? I mean, do you just do you just sing a nursery rhyme, a lullaby? How do you actually use your voice to actually create this change in people?
That would be fun. I would like to maybe incorporate that one time, especially for children and healing. I haven't done too much with kids, but I've taught kids singing, so that's great. So basically, I have a crystal singing bowl that's in the tune of D at the minute. So, I mean, I'd love to get the full set, and that is the plan one day. But that kind of, when I begin to play that sets the kind of key for my voice. So I would kind of maybe begin on the note D and then kind of go up the scale, or but also I can just intuitively sing to no music. So it might consist of sort of oohs and ahs and just kind of vowel sounds to open up and to warm up the space. And then usually what flows through are words that relate to the client's intention. So it might be, words of letting go, or, really feeling into different emotions and what they're showing you. And if people or scenarios are coming into your awareness, really allowing them, and then kind of, so talking to some of the healing itself and using it like a guided meditation. And then other times having silence and stopping and just allowing everything to land, coming back to the heart and the breath, So it's not necessarily constant, but I will sing in some sessions more than others. And essentially, the client will be lying down with their eyes closed and going on their own insular journey. So again, I'm the space holder, and especially online, sometimes I can't see the client's face or what's going on, but it's literally a trusting and an intuitive feeling about what to say and what to do next. And yeah, nothing's ever the same. So it's really lovely. And sometimes I have no idea consciously what's going on. I'm trusting the process, and at the end they're like, what was that? That was amazing. And so sometimes I get blown away. But sometimes the clients will want to hold on and they will want to resist, and that's perfectly fine too. And they'll have less of an intense experience. So I always use the disclaimer, you're your own healer. You'll get as much out of the session as you put in, so to speak, or as you're willing to let go of and to look at. So, yeah.
That makes sense. Good. Really interesting to sort of find that. And again, I'm sure there will be people who kind of think, well, that just sounds a bit woo-woo to me. I can't understand it. And again, it's being open to it, isn't it? It's allowing it in, being open to the possibility of healing and the possibility of this working. I will say one thing as well, that Sam has kindly offered us a bonus to the albums as well within the resources. If you buy all the albums with the resources, the Empowerment Songs albums, she's offered some sound healing sessions, I think it is, isn't it? So yeah, have a little look at that for those of you who've purchased the Empowerment Songs albums. I want to start to talk about that now, because you mentioned about lyrics earlier on. You mentioned about words, and obviously you do some stuff without words, but how in theory, how important could words be within music to change people's mindset or heal them or something like that? Do you think that lyrics of a song can have a place there?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been obviously listening to the album recently, and no, they really do. They, words are powerful. They all have their own vibrational frequency. Negativity, positivity, and to cultivate that positive mindset. I think lyrics are particularly powerful. And again, some of the albums about the names of speaking your truth, and on a hero's journey, and my songs are A Miracle and The One, and they all do have that flavor of lifting you up, and I think definitely melody and lyrics working together is particularly powerful. Again, around intention of the person, like I've been listening to a bit of Mozart today to try and I find that helps me work and get focused. So obviously the classical stuff without words is powerful, but to combine the two, and also listen, really kind of consciously listen to the lyrics, but also just subliminally in the background. If you've got it in the background, it embeds itself in you as well. So I do think it's lyrics are important.
Yeah, it works both ways, doesn't it? Like I say, you can really consciously listen to the lyrics and really try to concentrate on the messages that are there, because within the Empowerment Songs albums, there's a lot of personal development messages, if you like, a lot of education there to be had within it. But also, yes, just on in the background, it's still going to go in subconsciously, because once again, we are all energy, we're vibrating, everything's energy. So yeah, absolutely good. So with the songs that you had, so Miracle and The One, did you sort of find, so when I sent them to you, and you recorded one, didn't you? We agreed to record one, and then another one became available, and we sent that one to you as well. I can't remember which one was which now. I think the one was first, actually, wasn't it?
I was trying to think about that.
Yeah, I know I think there was several months apart. I can't quite remember now. But did you sort of find when you received those songs, as a singer, obviously you're looking for a couple of things. One, that you can kind of sing it, that you can sort of relate to the tune and all of that. Just focusing on the lyrics, did they sort of resonate with you at all for those songs?
Yeah, absolutely. What can I say? I mean, it's all about self-empowerment, and I'm the one that's I'm taking responsibility for my own energy and what I'm going to bring to the world, and I can be the one that is in the moment, leaves the past behind, all that kind of stuff. And with Miracle, and lots of the personal development courses that I've done, and of course I met you through a mutual friend after doing the Landmark Forum, which is quite a well-known personal development course. I just lost my train of thought there. About miracle. I was going to say that in lots of the courses that I've done, like a lot of the spiritual teachings and readings that I've read about, it always comes back to the fact that we are miracles walking on this earth. Science has told us that there is this innate intelligence that we are created from, because essentially, if you look in all our bodies, we're mostly empty space. So the fact that we are miracles, we can create our own realities, we can choose our thoughts, day to day, and choose to do things differently when things aren't working, is an absolute wonder, to be able to self-reflect and to be the observer of what's going on in your life when you allow yourself, is quite phenomenal. And we're often addicted to the way that we are, and we're invested, and we get certain things out of being a certain way, not necessarily healthy for us, but we are addicted to those things. And it's when you can reflect and something comes into your awareness to show you that's when you can change. And we can do that. We have that ability, and we have so many people in the world who have discovered so many things that we can learn from. It's just about acquiring that knowledge. It's all there.
So many golden nuggets there. Absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, you're so spot on. And that was, really the idea behind a song such as Miracle. It was that, it's acknowledging you for who you are. Absolutely. That's brilliant. And I know I think probably both of those songs, in terms of the actual recording process, it was a reasonable challenge, wasn't it? Because there's such a range in terms of the keys of the song, the notes of the song. Mm-hmm. And like I said, I think it was sort of both songs, wasn't it? But in particular, might have been Miracle. It was very low for you, wasn't it? And I know it was a real sort of challenge to get down that low, because then we had to get, by the end of the song, really high. How did you sort of, incidentally, how did you sort of find that recording process? Because it was interesting with me working with lots of different people. Some people really professional, other people got quite nervous. What was it like for you? Because I think, am I right in sort of thinking it was kind of a new experience, wasn't it, for you? You'd done some recording before, hadn't you? I don't know if it was professional recording or...
Yeah, I've recorded a demo with my sister for the Parker sisters, our kind of duo band. And I have done recording at school and for various things, but not really professionally so much. So... And
we were, sorry, just to interrupt you. We were in a home studio as well, so we're talking about in my house, in one of my rooms. So it's not a load of space. It's not Abbey Road Studios, put it that way. But yeah, how did you sort of find that? Obviously, I've sent you these songs. You've had to interpret it, and was it pressurizing? Was it something? Did you have some fears and some worries, or?
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to do a good job, and I know that whenever I get nervous about something, it's like, it's because you care about it. That's the way that it is. But when you sent it over, I listened to it a few times. I feel like I've done enough singing and learning of new songs over the years to trust myself to pick them up quite well. Again, it's just muscle memory and repetition. And when I came, I felt a bit of an adrenaline rush of kind of nervousness and excitement. But I love the process. I love being, I think one day it might have been the hottest day of the summer, was it last year or something? And we were in that little room, and even then the time seemed to fly by. I think we were in there for a few hours, and I enjoyed it. And I did. It was challenging. You said Miracle. It might have been the one, because I listened back and I was like, oh yeah, that's very low. I did find it challenging. I know we had a conversation back and forth about changing the key certain time, for a few of the kind of the verse and the chorus and things like that. And I was like, there's a key change in both of these songs, so I'm just going to have to deal with that. And I love a key change. What can I say? So I did find that challenging, but I was pretty happy with the end result. And I was buzzing after leaving your house both those times for just going through that creative process. And I know you and I had a little back and forth about harmonies and what we could sing at the end of the song to kind of faded out and things like that. So that was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and there was a lot of harmonies, wasn't it? And again, I think you're right about it being the one, actually, and at the end of the one, there's lots of harmonies layered there, and that was part of the time it took, wasn't it? The fact that you're re-recording that line, different harmony, extra layer, and it's all put in there. It's all, obviously the song's been mixed, so you're not going to hear every single individual voice, but it was sort of all there to create a big crescendo at the end. So yeah, that was really good. So in regards to these albums, I mean, obviously, as I've said before, there was lots of people involved in the albums, and it is a range of people. Some people are more into personal development, other people are just into the music, other people, they're not pursuing music, but they just have a great voice or something like that. For you, it's the fact that you enjoy music, you're actively involved in music, but also you understand that personal development as well. So you were, one of those kind of perfect people, if you like, for the album. So who do you sort of think would benefit from hearing these albums and these songs then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the cliche thing would be to say everyone, go and get it. But yeah, I just feel people who are looking for that kind of, growth and a subtle growth. Not, the songs are great, really catchy. But, people who just want to have that in the background, who like uplifting music, dance around with your kids, sing the songs when you're going to get a coffee. It's really, I feel like it can be used quite lightly. But yeah, I think for a general audience, I think they're great melodies, great lyrics. And yeah, so I just encourage everyone to buy the album and have a listen and provide some feedback. Let us know what you think.
Absolutely, definitely good. It's good that you mentioned children there as well, because I have had some of that feedback that children really enjoy the songs. And, one thing I would say, it's so important for parents to try and educate their children a little bit and, empower them a bit, because again, children have so much pressure on them nowadays, and they might be bullied at school. And we've got all the depressive news, and we're going through COVID right now in 2020, and, all these sort of things. And we don't always realize the stresses and the pressures that children undergo. So I think it's really important that children are educated in personal development. And the thing is, a child might not want to or might not need to go and meditate or, have certain therapies or something like that. Music is a nice way of, getting some positive lyrics in there. And, it'd be great if a child sort of question some of the lyrics. What does that mean? It's a great opportunity to sort of discuss it as a family and say, yeah, do you know what? This song is about resilience. And this is what I tell my daughter, Ella, because you came over and saw her. And I say, life does have challenges. I sort of thought when I was younger that I'd get through schooling and then I'd become an adult and then life's sorted, isn't it? You've got no more learning to do and all that. How wrong was I? We continually have challenges. So I think the music, these songs speak about things like that, and it can open up channels of communication whereby people can talk about some of those concepts with their kids or with each other, and use the music to really, it's like a mantra. It really reinforces those key principles. Have you actually used, this is interesting then, because obviously music has been a big part of your life and sound has been a big part of your life. Do you have, before, put these albums aside for the minute, have you found that you have had certain songs which you've used? You said you use classical music for, concentrating, which I use as well. Have you had certain songs that you've used at key moments in your life, maybe, I don't know, before going for a job interview or something like that, to really energize you? And has it been, if so, has it been the lyrical content, or has it just been the actual, the rhythm, the melody or something like that? Have you sort of used music in that way, Sam?
Yeah, I have. I was just the funniest thing that's just come to my mind is before a hockey match. So I'm a hockey player as well. And one of the girls, she always puts on Christina Aguilera Burlesque on whenever she gets the opportunity, because I ended up dancing to the song one night when we were out on the town, and I go a bit crazy. And anyway, this was my theme song basically for the hockey field. So whenever we used to play, she used to put it on, and it used to she used to do it to try and put me off, but it actually built me up a lot. And that was definitely, it was more around the beat and the rhythm and the melody, probably more so than the lyrics. So I love a syncopated beat. I actually really love R&B and hip hop music, even though I don't, my voice doesn't necessarily lend itself to that. I really enjoy listening to it. Obviously, some of those lyrics aren't that great, so I try to, avoid listening to it too often. But yeah, I mean, and I think a bit of a guilty pleasure, because I'm kind of that age, is Disney songs. Like I grew up to Disney. Whenever I kind of sang in a local competition, I would always do best with a Disney song. I think that was just kind of, I think it really showed that I really loved the melodies and the lyrics and the movies themselves. So I think, again, film can be really, really powerful. And we know children who, watch Frozen a million times and want to sing, Let It Go, and all of that. I just feel like, the film industry has a lot to say about kids and what sticks with you as an adult. And I really like what you said about kids and having kind of music as a bit of a reinforcer, and it's kind of one of those subtle things in the background where you don't have to preach to your kids about being a certain way or having to learn certain lessons if you can allow them to come to those conclusions themselves through songs and ask those questions. And I feel like if I would have children, I'd definitely have the albums in the background and sing along with them, and even years later I feel like melodies like that, they stay with you. You can forget so many things, but if you have a really great song and a great melody in your awareness, it usually will pop up 10, 20 years later and it's still there. So
true. Yeah, that again is the power of music, isn't it? And maybe that's how music can be a little bit more effective than just something like a motivational quote. The fact is the melody goes in there and you will recall it. It will be there in your subconscious, and we've all had those songs that just kind of we can't get rid of as well. We've had those kind of songs, and if it's a positive song, that can be great. We can't get that tune out of our heads, but like you say, if not, it's in the subconscious and we can just regurgitate them, if for want of a better phrase, when we need to. So yeah, great example. I love the fact that you said about Disney, because I love Disney, and having a 9-year-old daughter, it's a great excuse for me to watch a lot of the films as well. And one of the things that my daughter said to me was, she'd noted with watching all these, classic Disney films. I remember we were watching a Disney film, and I can't remember what it was, but it was going through, they were going through some challenges, the princess or the hero, whatever it was, they were going through some challenges and it was looking like it was going all wrong. And she said to me, "It's okay, Daddy, because it's a Disney film and it all works out all right in the end," which, is a great thing to think about. Obviously with that, we've got to be careful, because we got to know that, not all walks of life are a fairy tale, of course. That's it. But, what a great thing to sort of think about in terms of, if we keep working at it, we keep taking action, it will generally, we're all right. We get through things. It will work out in the end. So that's amazing. And I remember actually Lee was the pianist who did, I think, the piano on both Miracle and The One. And at the start of The One, there's just a little bit of tinkering piano. And I think he called that, because he sent me lots of different examples of different things we could use, and he actually said, I think that one was a bit like Disney-esque or something like that, and
fitting.
And exactly, so it's perfect. It's great that you've actually talked about that today. And like I say, I love Disney because some of those songs are absolutely amazing. And of course, you mentioned films, the other film that sort of sprung to my mind was The Greatest Showman as well. And, in that, they are what I would call, again, empowerment songs. I kind of create, and I'm sure there's lots of other people out there call themselves maybe empowerment songwriters as well, but I sort of created this phrase, if you like, for a song that really does serve to motivate and inspire and make you feel good and, give you the courage to go out there and make things happen. So I sort of came up with these empowerment songs, and something like, what is it called? I'm the One, isn't it? No, what is it called? What's the one with the bearded lady in The Greatest Showman? I can't think what that's...
This is me.
This is me. This is me.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. So this is me. You know, what a great example of an empowerment song. So yeah, absolutely. I'm sure there's so many people have been singing along to that, regardless of whether they've got a beard or not. So yeah.
I was literally looking to watch that film the other night. I couldn't find it on Netflix. I was dedevastated. But it's really great that you've just mentioned that.
It is, yeah. I've watched it a few times. It's really powerful. So what's next for you then? So obviously you've done this project, etc. You're doing all your sound healing. Do you have kind of particular goals with music or otherwise, or is it just kind of keep doing what you're doing and keep making a positive impact?
Yeah, I mean, I have goals to kind of develop my client base. So I'd like to get, more clients in the evenings, on the weekends. I'd like to expand into group settings with my sound healing. I would also like to get back into singing teaching eventually as well. I think that I could combine singing teaching with sound healing, and eventually, maybe quit my day job. Don't tell my boss. But yeah, to kind of be more immersive in it. And I do, I'm going to be in the UK at least for the next 6 months. My visa, I've got an ancestry visa, so I've been here for five years in May next year. So just kind of deciding whether I'll stay in the UK or go back home. My sister in New Zealand is really keen to set up a singing school. So she's massive musical theatre fan, and there's a lot of demand in my hometown. I'm from Gisborne, New Zealand. And yeah, I think we would be able to create a real impact in the community. And I'd like to bring my sound healing and, have that as a separate facet, be involved in the singing school, but also depending on the people that you meet, because I've got the Estill technical knowledge of voice coaching, kind of maybe combining that with healing. So of people who are into, personal development, healing themselves, but also expressing themselves, I can kind of maybe create bespoke lessons and things for people who want to do that. So yeah, it's really exciting.
That sounds amazing and makes perfect sense to me. Absolutely. And this is, kind of an area I'm looking to go down myself a little bit more in terms of incorporating the speaking that I do with the music and creating some amazing personal development events. And again, I've just, started along that process and feedback has been really good. So yeah, really, really excited to hear about that journey. And, potentially there might be some more collaboration between the two of us as well, which is, really exciting. So tell me, how would people get in contact with you if they're interested, for example, in the energy healing, or just want to, were inspired by this and want to ask you some questions? I will put all the details in the show notes, but what was sort of the best way for people to get in contact with you, Sam?
So I have a website. It's sammyparker.com, and it's SAMMYPARKER.com. And I don't really, I was going to say my family and friends kind of call me Sammy, so it's not something that I'm called every day, but yeah, that's the website, and you can fill in the contact form, and that will come directly to my inbox, and I can reply and answer any queries, or if you're local, we can have a conversation, have a coffee, whatever you fancy, and open to doing sessions in person and online. So if you're somewhere else in the world, very happy to see what we can do, considering time zones and things as well.
That's brilliant. Thank you. One final question then, as we sort of bring this to a close. I think it's been really, really interesting. I've certainly been intrigued by all of what you do. I find it absolutely fascinating and, incredibly powerful. If you had to give one piece of advice, apart from obviously someone booking a session with you and having some healing, if you had to give one piece of advice to someone who wanted to somehow sort of involve sound or music into their own development or their healing, what would you sort of tell them to do? Something, maybe simple or first step or something like that. What piece of advice would you give them?
Yeah, I mean, Google has everything these days, but I do a little bit of research about what's in your area. And yeah, like what's your intention? What do you want to do? Do you want to use your voice? Do you want to use instruments? Do you, and start exploring maybe some courses. There's actually quite a few free short courses out there that you can do online. Talk to people, talk to friends and other people who are into music or who are into the same things as you are, and kind of get their their advice. I find referrals from people who you know and trust are really, really helpful, and they're, I feel it's more grounded in reality sometimes, because sometimes the internet doesn't tell us the truth all the time. But I'd say do your research, figure out what you want, and it could be something completely new, depending on what you're interested in, and talk to people. So
Absolutely.
And talk to me if you want to, and we can have a conversation.
Definitely. Good. So take some form of action. Well, it's been absolutely delightful, Sam. Thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for being a contributor. I think you did an amazing job on the albums. And, if anyone is interested in these songs, feel a bit intrigued, go to inneranthem.com. You'll be able to hear samples. If you just kind of, click the buttons to go through to the albums, you'll be able to hear some samples of Sam's 2 songs, Miracle and The One, and all the other songs as well. And just go out there and get it, and realize that the benefits from it, really. So thank you ever so much, Sam, and look forward to catching up with you soon.
Thank you, James. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for watching. 3 quick things to do now. 1, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. 2, go to the inneranthem.com website and access your free video series, the 3-minute music life hack, so you can find out how to use music to enhance your life. And thirdly, get your own copy of the Empowerment Songs albums at the inneranthem.com website.